The other day, someone in the comments asked me if I regret losing $15,000 on prop firms. I had to think about this. In the moment, of course, I regretted those out of control tilt days of, blowing and resetting accounts multiple times. But most traders don't change until they hit what I would call max pain, the point where losing hurts so much that you either quit or evolve. For me, that point came at the beginning of this year after my second Top Step payout was followed by a solid month of tilt. So, do I regret it? No. That pain was probably the only thing strong enough to make me change, to force me to do these things I'm doing now that I've resisted the most for the longest. I think every trader eventually reaches a breaking point. It's not just about the money, it's the emotional exhaustion, the feeling that you're trying so hard and still failing on repeat. That's what I mean by max pain. It's the day you just can't lie to yourself anymore. The day you realize that discipline is really your only option that you have left in this. For me, that came after one of my worst stretches at the beginning of this year. As I mentioned, I had taken my second payout from Top Step. And every day I promised that I'd stop overtrading, I'd quit doing multiple resets in a day, and every day I just came back and did the same thing again. I finally worked up the courage to look at my credit card balance, and I can just remember thinking, like, I just can't keep doing this to myself. I cannot keep going through this same cycle over and over again. Here's the crazy part. Psychologists have studied this exact pattern. There's actually research showing that people rarely change when they're comfortable. They only change when the pain of staying the same becomes worse than the pain of change. It's true in trading and it's true in life. You can read every book, journal, plan out your perfect trading system, but until it hurts enough, you're probably not going to follow it. That's just how our brains work. In psychology, they call this the threshold of change. You need enough discomfort to activate real behavioral change. It's why people quit smoking after a health scare or start budgeting after they max out their credit cards. In trading, our health scare is usually a blown account. In my case, it was, I don't even know how many blown accounts. It was a lot of blown accounts, $15,000 worth of blown prop firm accounts. And then, the money that I lost on my personal account. If you're watching this and you're in that painful place, you've blown your account and you're feeling kind of hopeless, here's what I want you to know. That pain means that your brain is ready to change. You've hit your threshold. So don't waste that window. Journal it. Write down exactly what hurts, what you did, how you felt when you did it, and what you never want to feel again. Because if you can remember that pain clearly, you can use it as your anchor later and keep coming back to it without repeating the mistake again to come back to it. That's what I did. I turned my pain into my checklist. Every time I follow my one trade a day rule, every time I walk away or have days like today where my setup doesn't present and I just accept that I'm not taking a trade, that's me protecting myself from the person who I used to be who had, no problem blowing up and resetting an account a few times in a day. So, do I regret it? Honestly, no, not anymore. There were definitely times when I was feeling regret about the money that I had lost in the personal account and all of the blown prop accounts. But I don't regret it because I think that the only reason I'm still trading and not just another dropout is because that pain forced me to take discipline seriously. Also, I'm extremely stubborn. So I think I think that's probably common among pretty much all of us that have been in this and failing and still coming back and working at it for, you know, a couple years or more, is that we're stubborn and we're determined to figure it out. Um, all those bone accounts and the pain forced me to build rules, to accept boredom, like today, no trade, and to stop pretending that I was just one strategy tweak or one clean setup away from fixing everything and becoming profitable. Pain has given me boundaries. It made me stop gambling and it's made me start tracking. I could be tracking better than I am, and that's something that I'm still working on. It seems like there's just always more work to do in trading, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good that we're doing something where there's just always areas that we can improve on and we can work at getting better at. It taught me that my biggest losses weren't about strategy. They were about losing control of myself, about losing control of my emotions and going on tilt and just not being able to stop. My brain just being completely hijacked and blowing an account. Like you would think that it would stop you from going on tilt when you blow an account, but no, I would just right away get in there, whether it was Top Step or Apex, and just quickly reset or buy a new account and then just straight back on. And when I get straight back on, it's not like I would sit there and, wait patiently for a setup. As soon as that new account was activated, I was in the market immediately. I don't think that change comes from motivation. I think it comes from exhaustion. When you're just done being the person who keeps repeating the same mistakes. So, no, I definitely don't regret it because while it was the most expensive lesson I've ever had, it was also the most effective. And I think that if you can use your own pain in the right way, you can turn it into progress too. So I want to ask you, what was your max pain moment? And did it finally make you change? Or do you think you're not there yet with the max pain? Or do you think you might just kind of like be on that threshold where you've had enough pain that you're really looking at your discipline seriously and where you need to change? And I just want to say also, it's not just discipline. I had someone in the comments and like he was just having such a rough time trading. And I don't know how many times he commented, and it was just like he was like really just having a rough time and struggling. And you could tell that like he was just in a bad place mentally and emotionally. And I didn't hear from him for a little while. And then he came back and he said, I've been on a break from trading and I feel great. I feel like so much clearer and clean and just like, so the change doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, I need this discipline rule. But I'm sure when he does come back, he will evaluate his rules and make changes there. Someone else just the other day said, like, again, the comments, like he was having a rough time, he was blowing up accounts. And then he came back and said, I've started swing trading instead of day trading, and I'm much happier. And that's awesome. I really love hearing that kind of stuff because um, sometimes it is just a discipline change. Sometimes it's a strategy change. Sometimes it's a complete change in how we're approaching the markets to, I guess, fit what's going to work best for us mentally and emotionally. So if you're ready to change, if you feel like you need to change, really look at where you can best make those changes. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave me a like, comment, subscribe. Just a quick reminder, I do have a link in the description to the various resources that I've made for traders. Basically, it's stuff that I made for my own discipline and to keep myself on track. And then I thought this might work for other people. So if I can help other people with their discipline through these tools, then that's awesome. So they're all on there for free. There's for discipline, tilt. There is my strategy A setup guide in there as well. So if you're curious about that, it's there. Yeah, so check it out if you feel like you do need some work on your discipline and maybe some guidance in which way you want to go with it. All right, I will see you back here tomorrow, hopefully with a trade to show you.